Good day, my students. Such a pleasure to be back here with you another day where we will look more into science. Today, we're going to look at the impact of man on the environment. And my, as we have seen that man has really put this world in a mess. And with this COVID experience that we have seen, we recognize that as a result of we staying home, is that there was a rebound in some aspect of the environment. So definitely, we have a big part to play in what is going on here. So last class, we look at three definite terms that I want you to be aware of as we go forward. Term number one is pollution. Term number two, pollutant. Okay, so those are two of the big terms. And then we look at the next one is air pollution. So we have pollution in general, then we have pollutant, and then we're going to be looking at air, AIR pollution today, which is a specific type of pollution. Remember we said that pollution has to do with anything that makes the environment, or we use the word contaminate the environment or make the environment unsafe or unsuitable for habitation. A pollutant, therefore, is a substance that is caused the pollution, the substance that contaminates, and there are a whole host of substances that results in contamination. So today we will look at one specific element of pollution, is that we talk about the pollution of the air, AIR. So today our lesson, we're going to look at the main air pollutant and their sources. Explain the relationship between greenhouse gas and global warming and climate change. So I want you to look at those three terms that we're going to be using today. Sometimes we use them interchangeable, but we're going to look at the specific use: greenhouse gas, global warming, climate change. And then we're going to evaluate the potential effect of global warming on the Bahamas. Now, this is what we say, that human activity introduced two main types of pollutants. We started talking about them at the last class before we end. One of them, we talk about noxious gases. Noxious, poisonous, unsafe. These include carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxide. Now, basically, carbon dioxide, you may ask me, but how is carbon dioxide bad? And we inhale basically 0.03% of the air by volume that we inhale is carbon dioxide. So what makes it so bad for us? Well, it has to do with the amount. Okay, so we'll go with that amount. So when it goes over certain levels, then certain things start happening, and that's what makes it bad. At 0.03%, good. Plants need it for their existence and so forth. And it's good in terms of all the other needs that are satisfied by it, but if it's more than a certain level, trouble. Sulfur dioxide is also another gas, and that we look at some of its sources, and nitrogen oxide, we look at their sources a little more, and we're going to see how they're going to affect us specifically. And then we talk about particulates. These are tiny particulate substances in the air, example smoke, which are usually produced by the combustion of fossil fuel. Okay, so we have air pollution has been around for a long time. In fact, since what we call the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century, when we start smelting iron and a whole lot of industries came online, burning coal, and then later the whole use of fossil fuel, including petroleum, a whole lot of waste we developed that we could not control. And also, waste is developed as a result of increasing population and urbanization, that people are coming to live in the cities, and a whole lot of people in the same place, and they are generating a whole lot of waste. And you know, we can see it around our city here. You just go on Cowpen Road and other places. In fact, travel up to the dump, the municipal, the dump at our back here. There you see acres of land, and trucks after truck coming in with waste every day that are collected from our homes or from our businesses. I don't know if that land is filled and they're not decomposing at any satisfactory rate. Where are we? We have to find some new methods of dealing with our waste, but that's not our topic for today. Now, one of the greatest threats caused by air pollution is global warming. Global warming is caused by a build-up of greenhouse gases, which leads to an increase in Earth's temperature. So bam, 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 that's where you're going. So global warming comes from the meaning comes from it. Global means that around the globe, warming, general increase in temperature. So we are having around the world places that we're seeing low temperatures are now seeing increase in temperature. So what we're saying that the globe, the whole world, our Earth here is warming up. Now, what are the things that can cause what we call greenhouse gas? Take note of these. These are called greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor. Greenhouse gases. Now, let's see what these gases do and how are they dangerous. The nitrogen oxide. Everybody is familiar with a greenhouse, right? A greenhouse is a structure that is usually used in farming, in which they build a structure that they can control the environment in which the plant grows. In some places they use plastics, other places they use glass, which is more expensive. And within that, they're able to grow their plants in which they are controlled environment. So we call it a greenhouse. Now, when these gases envelop our atmosphere around us, they tend to allow the ultraviolet ray of the sun to get in, but it cannot get out. So what is happening here now? Let's see what we're talking about. Oh, so imagine that, let's say that this is our globe right here. This little thing here. So let's say this is Earth, right? And then around it, we have the invisible atmosphere. Let's use this yellow paper now to mean certain expanses out there, but it's right around us here. And we have these layers of gases right around this globe. If this was not there, or in proportion that is not really detrimental, heat can come in and the ultraviolet ray can go out. But it's there, so it cannot get out. It gets in, but it cannot get out. So it keeps, or it is not getting out as fast as it gets in. So what happened to the Earth temperature? The temperature will what? Did I hear you say increase? Yes, thanks for saying that. Yes, it increases. Definitely. So that's one of the challenge that we have in getting it out. All right. So let's pause a little. What are greenhouse gases? So we say these are gases that do what? These are questions that you're supposed to answer, right? Give you a few minutes. I'll put them in the chat, in the poll, and you can answer them. Okay. I would say name 5 greenhouse gases. I wonder if anybody can shout them out. We named some of them. I think the next slide here we have named 4. Let's see what they are. Anybody remember greenhouse gas number 1? Carbon dioxide, methane. You get a peep there. What are the other 2? Yes, I hear you. Water vapor. And the next one is nitrous oxide. Okay, good. Now, let's look at what's the greenhouse effect. We often talk about that. And let's see what the greenhouse effect is. I hope my little thing here will work. So the greenhouse effect has a major impact on the temperature of the earth. So let's see. Stage 1, right? This is what I was demonstrating. Wow, here we go. Radiation from the sun in the form of light wave enter the atmosphere and warms the earth. Good, good, good. Good illustration. Stage 2, infrared radiation produced by the earth. Some of this heat travel through the atmosphere and escape to outer space. Of course, some of it can get out. But what? Some of the heat is absorbed by the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere and so is reflected back to the earth. This causes the temperature of the earth to rise. So we have, let's see if we can get it. This one here, right? This coming in. I will talk about another consequence of pollution that will increase, so we'll see increased amount of this coming in when we were protected by the canopy of that gas out there and by our activity. Anybody know what that gas is? By any way, imagination? Yes, I heard you. Ozone. We talk about the depletion of the ozone layer. We'll come to that, hopefully. So this one comes in and we have too much coming in right now. Some of this get out and we say, good for you. We want you, some of you to go, because if too much of you go, we'll freeze to death here. All right, so some is good to go. But this part here, we're seeing trouble here. In this part, we're seeing as a result of the greenhouse gas, and we say that those greenhouses are CO2, right? Methane, M-E-T-H, oh, I might have to abort this. Methane, right? All of those are gases, yep, that are not good for us on Earth. So that's really what we're talking about there when we talk about greenhouse gas right there, okay? Good. Here, so this is what we have. So global temperature increases. So increased level of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere trap more emitted heat. This leads to greater increase in their temperature. So we see more of this coming out. You see the temperature here getting hotter and hotter. And these have consequences. Okay, let's pause a little. Let's look back what we're talking about. So, greenhouse effect is a result of greenhouse gases. Why are these gases so bad? Because they're able to trap the infrared radiation coming from the sun. And when it absorbs them, prevent them from, and as a result, it reflects it back to Earth. Too much of that causes the Earth temperature to increase. And we result in a phenomenon that we call global warming. Okay, so this trend is increasing, and we see this increasing over the year. Okay, so carbon dioxide is one of the most important greenhouse gases because atmospheric concentration have risen dramatically over the past century. And I don't need to ask you why this is so. We already said that we have burning of what? Fossil fuel. And look at this one. So look what we have happening here. We have burning of fossil fuel. Coupled with that, we have deforestation and land for the construction of hydroelectric dam. Okay, so we see here what we're doing. We are increasing greenhouse gas, and our forest, which naturally is a sink or absorption of the carbon dioxide, because guess what? It uses carbon dioxide to do what? Man, if you can't answer me that, boy, I lock you out of this class. Carbon dioxide is important for a very important process that we depend on. Yes, I heard you say it. Thank you. Photosynthesis. So when we remove these trees, like over here, we cut them down so there's fewer trees to absorb the increased amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So we have an increase in the concentration of carbon dioxide. And this is what we need to avoid. Okay? Okay, let's look one more. So there we go with that. So all of those are fossil fuel that we have there. We use them all around. We say before the Industrial Revolution, carbon dioxide level were usually kept in check by the carbon sink, forests, and the ocean that capture the store. But all green plants absorb, we said that already, the carbon dioxide. The ocean also is a good reservoir for the carbon. So we say that human activity may be changing, causing a change in the world's climate. The production of carbon dioxide and other heat-trapping gas from the burning of fossil fuel may be causing the Earth's climate to change. So here we have the greenhouse effect that you can go to bed and write about now. So what is the result? Yes, here we go with the result. Higher global temperature. This is all that I'm saying. Sea level rising and different geographical distribution of what we say rainfall. So let's look at the serious effect of this. You understand what greenhouse effect is. And the greenhouse effect causes global temperature to increase. So as a result of that, we have global warming. And look what is coming in now. Climate change. Okay, let's see if you get that. So one, we have greenhouse gases. The greenhouse gas produced as a result of increased concentration, they produce the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect is the trapping of the rays from the sun, infrared, can't get out. And that now results in some other terms that we have here that we call global warming, or we refer to as climate change, meaning the climate is the weather condition over a period of time, usually 40 years thereabout. And most places, for example, in the Caribbean, we are called tropical climes, and people flock to us in the summer to get the sunlight, and they spend a lot of time on the beaches. And right throughout the Caribbean, we have some lovely beaches, nice blue water, or here in the Lutra, you have the pink sand, You have most of our water in the Bahamas are like turquoise and looking, um, if because they are shallow really and clean. We have no rivers pouring into, so most of our pollution comes from our land base. So, so what is going to cause the sea level to rise? We know we have climate change. So as a result of climate change, so the North Pole that used to be frigid, we recognize that there's a change, a little spike, or over the years the temperature has been going up. And when the temperature goes, I know you watch Natural Geographic and everything. So when the temperature goes up, what happened to the ice? Oh yes, the ice start melting. And they have discovered that as a result of pollution, the ice used to be solid white or like ice solid, but pollution is causing the ice to be frosty white or colored, and that seems to melt much quicker. It's like you have solid, ice that you can actually look through it as against the other one, that the water is polluted, right? Or additive to it. So that's what happened. The ice melting. And where does the ice go when it melts? It goes into the ocean, our seas, and little Bahamas. We are little dots in the sea. In fact, let's say the Caribbean. All of us are some little dots, rocks in the sea. And we can see the effect of that when hurricane, in the rain, the wave, 20-foot wave came and washed right across some of our islands. A lot of water. So, and these are happening in some parts of the world today. So this is no joke thing. Serious things that are happening. So we have global warming and we have sea level rising. So these are consequence as a result of pollution. Let's move on because I do not want to keep you indefinitely today. I want you to get these on. Okay. So they're seeing differences and they look at the ice melting. And these are not just talk about things. These are things that we see happening from satellite imagery. So let's see what you say. So what are the consequences? There are some terms here that you need to look at. And we talk about that. Sea level rise, okay? Rising global sea level. Okay, right here. Erase it down. Okay, let's take this down. The sea level rises. Let's go back. I need you to get these. Coastal flooding, agricultural land, displacement of population, displacement of ecosystem. So all of those things are a threat to us. All right? Increasing the rate of photosynthesis, increasing agriculture production at high altitude. But faster growth means that there's less protein in cereal, taller trees, and more exposed to storm damage. So there are some good, but there are many negatives to that. Global warming, polar bears, they cannot get to move from place to place as they used to. Okay, so let's look at this very quickly. Polar bear live in the Arctic and hunt seal. The polar bear is adapted to its environment as white fur, small ear, thick layer of fat, and large feet. And the large feet has to do with surface area, especially over thin ice. That's very important. You can smell seals swimming under the sea ice. They can catch seal by breaking through the ice or by waiting for the seal to come up to the surface to breathe. Each winter, the Arctic, there is a large area of sea ice where the polar bear can hunt. All right? So here we say as the rising global temperature would result in a decreased amount of sea ice in the future. All right, so you know that what happened to the polar bear. Wow, they can't get no food. Okay. And we can talk about all these other animals now. These are some worksheets. So let's pause here a little. Let's look at these questions. What's global warming? What's climate change? Explain the greenhouse effect. Give 3 reasons why deforestation increased in the amount of greenhouse gases. Those are some questions that you have to answer. I'm going to put you in your breakout room, and I'm going to give you some opportunity now. Each group will be dealing with one of those questions. What is global warming? You have just about 3 minutes. You go to your room, you discuss those. So room 1 is global warming. Room 2 is climate change. Room 3 is explain the effect of, and room 4, give 3 reasons why deforestation. Then we come back and we discuss those. So your rooms will be open. I want you to discuss those, and then we'll get back together and we'll start to make sure we understand what we're dealing with. So that's for the first part of our lesson when we are looking at global warming.